Hey folks, it's John with KT Tropical. Super excited to introduce to you a brand new series called You Oughta Know. This is going to be very short videos that I'm going to upload every single week where I'm going to tell you something I think you need to know about fish keeping, breeding fish, setting up a new tank. I might even tell you something you ought to know about a product or something like that. Who knows? I'm going to bring it to you quick and it's going to be a lot of fun. New episodes of You Oughta Know are going to upload every single Tuesday. If the name of this series sounds familiar to you, well, that makes sense because there was another YouTuber that did a series a few years back by the same name. Brian's Fish Tanks did a series called You Oughta Know several years ago, but don't worry. Well, I've already talked to him. He is totally fine with me using the name. His You Oughta Know videos are very different than what I'm gonna do, but you should still check them out. I'll put a link to his channel down in the description. With all that said, here is what you ought to know about water conditioners. It's a common misconception in fish keeping that water conditioners are all about making the water safe for the fish in your aquarium. While this is certainly true, it's so much more than that. Water conditioners are also to make the water safe for your aquarium. If you're using city water, it's guaranteed to contain either chlorine or chloramine. Think of both of these chemicals the same way you would bleach. Their whole purpose is to kill bacteria. The city has to do this to make the water safe for drinking and cooking with. If there's a high concentration of chlorine or chloramine in your water, it can absolutely be lethal for your fish. Yes, the main purpose of water conditioners is to neutralize chlorine and chloramine, but it's not just to make it safe for the fish. Here's what I mean. Remember when I said the city puts these in the water to kill bacteria? Well, what do you think that does to the beneficial bacteria in your aquarium? If this is all new to you, you may not be aware that there is bacteria that grows in your tank that we love. We call it beneficial bacteria, and this is the bacteria that breaks down ammonia and nitrite and converts it to nitrate, which is a lot less harmful for your fish. We control nitrate by doing water changes. But what happens when we do a huge water change to help control the nitrates in the aquarium and we replace the water that we take out with water that has in it a chemical whose sole purpose it is to kill bacteria? Well, the answer is it kills that beneficial bacteria that we love so much. This bacteria is the most powerful filter in your aquarium, and we want to do everything we can do to ensure that it is healthy and thriving in your tank. So putting water in your aquarium that's specially formulated to kill bacteria is actually going to do more harm than good. But John, I'm on a well. I don't have to worry about chlorine or chloramine. Well, most of the time that's true, but I would still use water conditioners anyway. Why? First of all, no matter what brand you choose, they are super cheap. Second, they do more than just remove chlorine and chloramine. They also remove heavy metals and help neutralize ammonia, nitrite, and nitrates. So, bottom line is, when you're maintaining your aquarium, treat your water with water conditioners before you put it back in. It just makes everything better and more safe for your fish and everything else living in your aquarium. Do I have a personal preference of water conditioners? No. I've used every single brand out there, from Seachem to Fritz to Fluval to Topfin, API. I've used them all and I've never really had any problems with any of them. So there you go, the first episode of You Oughta Know. As I said in the beginning, this is going to be a series that's going to upload every single week. So if you like this kind of content, you might want to subscribe to the channel and ring that bell and do all that other good stuff to make sure you don't miss next week's episode, along with all the other stuff we're doing. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next week, where I'll tell you something else you ought to know.